If you woke up tomorrow and learned you only had 1 year left to live, what would change? Would you finally chase your dreams instead of making excuses? Would you forgive the people who wronged you? Would you stop caring about the opinions of strangers and start living for yourself? Now let me ask you something even more important. Why aren't you already living that way? Most people don't realize it, but they live as if they are immortal, postponing happiness, delaying change, waiting for a future that may never come. Science shows us that the human brain is wired for comfort and routine. It resists change because change feels like a threat. But what if that very resistance is what's keeping you stuck in a life that feels unfulfilled? Psychologists call this time blindness, the illusion that we have endless tomorrows. It's the reason people don't start the business they've always dreamed of. It's why people stay in toxic relationships, fearing the unknown more than unhappiness. It's why people wake up at 60 or 70 years old, wondering where all the time went. But Buddhist philosophy has been teaching this truth for over 2,500 years. Impermanence is the only certainty in life. The problem is we don't truly believe it until it's too late. That's why this video is so important. Today, we're diving into 5 life-changing steps, rooted in ancient Buddhist wisdom and backed by modern psychology. Steps that will shift your mindset, rewire your habits, and help you start living as if every moment matters. Because the truth is, it does. So if you've ever felt like life is slipping through your fingers, like you're waiting for something without knowing what, then stay with me. The next few minutes might just change the way you see everything. Now let's begin. Step 1. Let go of the illusion of time. One of the greatest illusions we fall for is that time is endless. We tell ourselves, I'll do it later, I have time, tomorrow will be different. But the only certainty in life is that tomorrow is never promised. Buddhism teaches us to live fully in the present. The past is gone. It exists only in memories. The future hasn't arrived, it is only imagination. The only moment you truly own is now. Think of the last year of your life. How much of it was spent waiting for the right time? How often did you tell yourself, I'll be happy when? But if this was your last year, you wouldn't wait. You would embrace every second. What's stopping you from doing that today? Many people fear the passage of time, but the real tragedy is not that life is short. It's that we waste so much of it, worrying, waiting, holding back. If you only had a year left, you'd stop waiting. You'd stop hesitating. You'd stop overthinking. You'd live. Step 2. Release fear. It's just a story. Fear keeps us small. Fear tells us to take the safe path, to avoid risk, to stay in our comfort zone. But Buddhism teaches that fear is just a thought, an illusion. It's the mind clinging to what it knows. Think about it. What would you do if fear didn't control you, if failure didn't scare you, if rejection didn't stop you? The problem isn't that life is too short. It's that we waste too much of it worrying. If you knew you only had 1 year left, would you still be afraid? Or would you finally take that leap of faith? Would you speak your truth? Would you follow your passion without hesitation? Fear is only as powerful as the attention we give it. Stop feeding it, let it go. Buddha once said, "The whole secret of existence is to have no fear." But how do we do that? By recognizing that most fears are simply thoughts, stories we tell ourselves. The moment we step beyond them, we realize they were never real to begin with. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for fear to disappear. Act now. Step 3. Prioritize what truly matters. Imagine being on your deathbed. What will you look back on with regret? The hours spent scrolling through your phone, the material possessions you collected, or the love you gave, the connections you nurtured, the moments of presence you embraced. Buddhism teaches that attachment to the external world causes suffering, but when we let go of what doesn't truly matter, we make space for what does. If you only had a year left, would you focus on impressing others, chasing status, or accumulating things? Or would you spend time with those you love? Would you find peace in the simple moments? Would you express gratitude for every breath? There's a reason monks renounce material wealth. It's not because they reject the world, but because they understand that true wealth is within. So ask yourself, if you had only 1 year left, what truly matters? And why aren't you making those things your priority now? Step 4. Be who you were meant to be. Most of us live our lives as if we are rehearsing for something. We hold back, we pretend, we conform to expectations. But Buddhism teaches us to awaken, to step into who we truly are. If you had only a year left, would you still live for others' approval? Or would you finally be unapologetically yourself? You are not here to just survive. You are here to experience, to grow, to express, to love. The world doesn't need another person who simply exists. It needs you, fully alive. Step 5. Surrender to the flow of life. The river never resists. It flows, it adapts, it moves forward. Life is the same. The more we resist, the more we suffer. But when we surrender, when we trust in the unfolding of life, we find peace. Buddhism teaches us to let go of control, to stop clinging to outcomes, and to simply be. If you had 1 year left, would you still fight the current, or would you surrender to the beauty of life as it is? Closing thoughts. Live as if time is precious, because it is. If you only had a year left, what would you do differently? Would you love more, fear less, live fully? Now ask yourself, why aren't you already doing that? The truth is, you don't know how much time you have. None of us do. So don't wait for a wake-up call. Don't wait for a deadline. Live as if time is precious, because it is. Buddhism teaches us that enlightenment is not something we find. It is something we remember. The wisdom, the peace, the joy, they are already within you. All you have to do is awaken, because now is all we ever truly have.